Welcome everybody to another episode of Cool Down. These episodes are birthed out of basically at the track. When the cars are cooling down, you've had a good day, you get together and chat.
Mic checks.
How I look.
What's up, Tito? Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
I remember not to hold it too close.
I know it. And what is it? My P's or S's?
Don't be too
Or
hard on the P's.
Puh. I got you, Tito.
Do I need to? It's good here. I'm
He
good.
likes holding it.
Okay.
Sometimes.
I like holding the thing.
Yeah. I got a Red Bull to hold, I guess. So.
But also, whenever I'm not, like, if I ask you a question and then you're like hitting me back, if I hold it here and I'm like, right, you know, what? Like, so I gotta keep my shit off. So I'm like, yeah.
All right, then.
All right.
That should be good.
Sweet. Thanks, Tito.
All right. I'm
Sweet.
so nervous.
These are how these things usually start. Tito presses go on the camera and he walks off.
See you, dude.
And you're like, well, all right, we're on. All right, cool. Let's do this thing. So, kicking off another cool down for those watching. We got Evan Shanks in the house. Quick background here on my end, right? So, we're living in the same town, and I didn't even know it. And I ran into you through Tito. So, Tito and I connected for media at 144, and then we were off to the LZ World Tour. And then I heard about you coming, and then we shared pit spaces. So, quick background. Me and Evan are like on year one to get to know each other. You know what I mean?
No, it's been super cool to get to know you and your team, to be honest, this last year. Because, I mean, I don't know. I like the ship that you guys run here because it's just it's like relaxed but structured, and everybody's just super cool. Like, everybody's great.
I mean, I feel that too, right? And I struggle with that a little bit as the relaxed part, you know, because it's a business at the end of the day, but I try my best to put the right people in the right places so they want to naturally execute their jobs, right?
Right. I think it brings people to be motivated to do stuff.
Exactly. Versus forcing, like, this is what you do, and then they don't really like to do that, and then it's like pulling teeth, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're jumping right into it, but we got Evan here, and we splashed the walls with his shirts because we are doing a collab, which is cool. When this drops, those drop. Just wanted to bring that to the forefront in this episode.
They're cool. They're comfy too. I've been wearing them.
Yeah, it's cool. We, our boy Austin designed them. It's like what it can be and what it is, right? So in the future to what it is now, obviously Evan is busy finishing the 370Z.
Yeah. Taking it home today, actually, because I'm really trying to dial it in and get it done. So.
And we were talking about the drive from his shop to our shop. So.
Dude, it's crazy. I even lived in California for a little while, and it took, you know, it seemed more natural, just for everywhere it just took forever to get everywhere. But it's like, dude, we both live in Dallas. I live 2 hours from you, bro, and we're both in Dallas.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
And we
it
have
doesn't
really
feel right here.
We have really nice highways.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there should be no.
I got 6 lanes the whole way home. I should be booking it.
Absolutely.
No, but it's not the case.
Well, let's do this. So for everyone watching, you know, from the 144 camp that may not know your background, like, can you hit us with a quick, who are you? How did you get into cars? Like, it's always cool for me to get to know the guests, right? So, where'd you start? Like, how long you been wrenching, or what's the deal?
Yeah. So I'll try and make it quick. I started doing YouTube when I was, I don't even know how old I was, but 2010. So I've been doing this for about 14 years now. The way it started was I used to skate, snowboard, and stuff. So I bought Gen 1 GoPro HD. It was filmed in 720p. It was pretty sick, dude. But I used it for like skateboarding, and like, you know, I'd go on a trip with some boys and just do some snowboarding and stuff. And but one day I was just like, I'm gonna smack it on my, you know, my Scion TC that I drove back in the day, and I drove to school. Literally just like vlogging wasn't a thing back then, but I talked and drove at the same time, and a lot of people were like, this is cool, you should do this. And so I was like, whoa, that's interesting.
I really like when things feel natural like that.
Yeah.
Like for me in my career, like my first competition was like I didn't want to go to it, and then I did really well, and I thought, damn, I need to do this. So it feels similar.
Yeah, no, I never it was never my goal. I mean, I was never a clout chaser. I never wanted to, you know, have like, you know, fame or whatever, Instagram followers, but it was just kind of something that kind of, I guess, sort of naturally started happening. Like I have a bachelor's in finance. I don't need to be doing this, but it just happened. So
Well, but like, so to your point in 2010, when you started loosely just having fun with cameras, like there was no blueprint as to what vlogging was. Like, how did it evolve from there?
Dude, oh my gosh.
Or I should ask, like right now, right? When I think of vlogging, I think I need to be consistent. I need to output on these platforms. Like, were you just like, I'm just gonna do this a lot, or did you have any structure?
So there was no structure. I mean, like I think when I was doing it, there was. I mean, what was it? Some of the old school. I mean, this was when YouTube was still just like growing. Nobody was really on it. So like, there was nobody else doing automotive content at the time. So I didn't have anything else to like work off of or go off of. So I was just literally, when I started, I wanted to make videos that I thought that I would want to watch if there was another person making them on the internet. And so like exhaust videos, just random stuff here and there talking about life with cars. And that's sort of how it started. And then I guess around like I met TJ Hunt in 2014, and then he and I became really good friends. He was always into like Casey Neistat, if you know
absolutely.
Casey. So he wanted to like revolutionize and bring vlogging to cars, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. And so that's sort of how like I guess the vlogging started. He sort of pioneered that. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, so there was nobody. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of many people that were doing it before like 2014, 2015. So
wow.
Yeah, TJ had some really good ideas, and honestly, he changed a lot about the video space for sure.
Well, then you guys would like naturally collab when you hung out, or like did you guys like? I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, when did you like get serious with it, or like was it just loose and fun, like skating and
Yeah, it was never like for either of us. It was never like I got to make this to make bills this month. It was just we were young, and so we had the time and didn't have any bills really. So it's like we just traveled around and we would go to meets. Like we went to, I don't know if you ever heard of H2OI. They used to do it. It was like in Maryland. We used to fly around and just do like meet and greets and stuff. I would fly out to him. He'd fly out to me. We'd do like road rallies and stuff, just random car stuff. And so there was never, I'm forgetting exactly what you asked because that's my ADD. But
yeah, no worries. I think it was just like, I feel like in nowadays, and I'm kind of talking a little out of my lane here, but it's like, I feel like nowadays when people have some leverage in their following and you want to do a collab or something, it's all business now. So it's like when you were younger, you're just hanging with TJ, you're learning some thoughts and...
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was just hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
That's still how it is to this day. I still like, I love doing this, but like hanging out with you, it's like I don't need to make a huge business profit off of hanging out with cool people. I feel like I've learned over the years that it's better to just be friends with good people and treat them right. They'll treat you right, and it's not like, I don't know, the whole collab thing. Like you gotta fly out, do this, gotta fly out, do that. It's like it's not that deep.
Right, exactly.
Just have fun.
Dude, that's so cool, man. So then from there, I'm just assuming you're like making some videos, hanging out with some cool people, and then you realize, whoa, my YouTube's growing. Yeah,
it started growing when I was in college, and that's when I was like traveling around with TJ, and that's when I met like Taylor Ray, Adam LZ, and some other, it really started to get popular when I was in college. And I had graduated in 2017. I got my bachelor's, and it was either do some super boring like financial analyst job, or it's like I have an opportunity. I didn't make anything for money, so I could barely afford the little one car or one room apartment I was in. But I was like, I might as well try. So I did it, and we pretty much immediately moved to California. I wanted to hang out because TJ was not my best man, but he was in my wedding. So like I just moved out, wanted to be with him for a little bit. Ended up not liking California, moved back, but it just, I just kind of did me and whatever I enjoyed working on, and just kept making videos with it.
So that's when you like hit the monetization button on YouTube.
Yeah. No.
Like, cause like Casey, he talks about in his stuff where he like got an X amount of watch hours before he even hit monetize. Like, did you do the same, or was it always kind of?
No. So whenever I started, there was no like barrier to entry for it. So it was like, they didn't pay really anything for the longest time. But whenever I started, there wasn't like a threshold or anything. You just kind of just started getting payout whether you liked it or not.
Okay.
And so I just kind of but I was in high school, so I was like, hey, I'll make $10 a month on YouTube. That's fine with me, dude.
That's me right now.
Yeah.
No, that's super cool. That's super cool. So then, you know, I'm guessing then, so YouTube paying out as it would just allowed you to start expanding what projects you could do? Like,
Yeah,
because
so
you started where
as any business, like, you know, my operations grew as my business did. So, you know, as sponsors came in, views came in, it was like, okay, well, I can afford to do more, so that makes me, that lets me be able to do more with my content, and then that in turn helps me grow the channel, and so on. So it's a business as anything. So.
And before we dive into like like cars and the fleet and like your program you got going on now, I wanted to ask like, what do you think in the parallel from then to now? Like, how's YouTube now? You know what I mean? Like, what's changed in the space, and or what advice would you have for like, you know, for example, like I'm gonna speak for myself, where it's like 144 makes t-shirts. That's really what we do. I love to drift. Through making t-shirts, I get to go drift.
Yeah.
So I don't make anything on YouTube, but I do feel that like as a company or a driver, I need to have social presence and I need to have a YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's kind of that like, that feeling of like everyone has to have these channels like online in order to fulfill the, but it's like
my first response is going like the word I was going to use was saturated. But
exactly. I mean, and that's how I feel as well. It's like
it kind of sucks because like, companies do pressure you a lot just because, I mean, it's important to have a presence because like, I mean, you can be a Pro 1 driver now and you can have, there's some Pro 1 drivers out there that have like no followers on Instagram. They don't, it's not in a bad way, but it's like they don't really try and make cool content. But I mean, I don't know. It's also just like if you don't want to do it, don't do it because your driving will speak for yourself. You know, that's I don't know. It's hard to say, but
well, it reminds me of like I always use motocross because I love motocross, but it's like as a
I used to race too.
right? It's just like, but those kids are growing up to win races.
Yes.
Like they don't want to be on social media. I'm
Yes.
I'm talking too out loud.
Yeah.
here,
Yes.
but, you
No.
know,
100%.
But
I
like
know, I got you.
in the SEMA motorsports world, it's like your influence is your monetary value.
Exactly.
Where like drifting in Pro 1 is like you
They're there because they want to race.
right.
Exactly.
But then it doesn't seem like there's any value to win those races anymore.
Yeah.
It's more value to have a influence and following and try to start a YouTube because it can work and like so that's where I think the saturation
I think the creative space is going through a weird phase at the moment, and I think it'll sort of balance itself out because like there's a lot of people that are forcing themselves to do it or are being forced to do it, and then I think it's just gonna end up not paying off at some point because it's just so saturated. But I don't know. But yeah, like you're saying, like I grew up with cars, and I started making videos because I loved cars so much. But I think there's a lot of people now that they just want to be famous so much that they'll use cars as like the avenue to sort of, you know, I'm not gonna say pretend, but you know, it's like, it's just hard because it's almost hard or almost impossible to distinguish who really is passionate about it at this point.
Well, dude, and I applaud all the YouTubers, meaning to make a YouTube video once a week is very difficult. Or twice a week, or 3 times, or every day, right? Whatever the schedule you guys are on to make it on YouTube is like a full-time, gnarly job in my book. And I just think, for those listening, my boys in the back, they know the drill, dude.
I'm so used to it, dude.
Yeah, there's a little boy running around the shop.
That's my house all day long, so it's all good.
But yeah, no, I think what I was saying was just like, trying to create YouTube videos is a full-time job. And I look at you guys, like when I go to the world tour, it's like, when I go to the LZ World Tour, I look at all the influencers and the amount of work you guys put in, and you can absolutely see how you have to love it to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to do. And so I think to your point, right, it's like if you have cars in your life and then you decide to just start doing YouTube, it's a whole different ballgame than loving to create and then get into cars.
Exactly.
So, well, that's cool, man. That's cool. So then you want to dive into a little bit about like your current cars, what you're building, like what you're up to, your 2024 plans.
Man, I've had probably the biggest 180 that I never thought I would have in the past couple of years. So I've recently, I guess 2023 last year, like I don't know what snapped or changed, but I started to love drifting. And it just, so go ahead.
Well, when I seen you at Englishtown, you know, it was like Tito was asking me like, yo, Evan's coming, and I'm like, well, tell him to pit under the rig, and like just getting to see you and like Chris Fix and like you guys working hard to get your car ready. And it was like, I was realizing that you weren't necessarily a competitive driver just yet, right? Like you were like coming into some races going, this sounds cool, let me try this.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to see your like determination and your hustle.
Thanks,
and then obviously throughout the rest of the tour, we got to hang more. But like, so you're going to compete more?
Yeah, that's my goal. I just bought Nate's 370, so his old 370, and I'm building that currently. So I'm trying to compete in Pro-Am next year if I can finish the car in time, which I think I can manage that.
You got this.
But yeah, no, I mean for me, I think competing is just natural. So it's like a lot of people want to say like you don't have to compete in everything. Well, it's like, yes, I do. That's literally that's my blood. So, yeah, I'm going to try it regardless. But I think it's just, my goal, I'd love to win the Pro-Am season and like get the FD Pro licensing. I don't really think it depends on how the cards play out, but I don't know if I necessarily want to be a pro like in FD. But having a license would be sick. But I love the atmosphere of doing like the world tours and just like, even fuel fests when you're with the right people, or like LS fests. I just want to do more driving with cool people, shootouts, and just get seat time and stuff. But yeah.
I mean, and that pressure will build you too.
Yeah.
Right? It's like going to a grassroots drift event to drink some beer and drift is really, really cool. But also trying to say like to your mechanic, like, let's try to win this thing and let's see how far we can go. And like
it stretches you. It really is like a testament to who you are when you push yourself to that extreme. And so,
which I think is cool to want to do, right? Like obviously Formula Drift's in the stage that it's in, which may not be everyone's like end all be all, but at the same time, it's cool to say, if I can do well in Pro-Am and I can get this license, who knows what the world will send me.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of just, it's more of also just proving to myself too, because I've had a hard, it's been a hard few years for me just driving in particular. So it'd be really cool to just get that, prove it to myself. And then just be like, you know what? I was right. And yeah.
I feel like I've been there. I feel like I did a few years where when I started the print shop, right, I took off from drifting and I got back into drifting, and my first season was just like fun and like I was super loose with it, which I won more races then, So it was like I was so competitive in Formula Drift, decided to take a break, and was literally better when I came back.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. So I definitely think there's something to the lust of being better in competition that just only helps you overall,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, then do you want to share, or can you share any insight into like how you would try to get your Pro-Am license? Do you have a series that you're sticking to? Are you gonna?
I'd like a recipe for trying to win, I guess.
Well, like there's like licensing series and stuff. Like whether you do you know
sure,
where?
Yeah. So Full Lock in Oklahoma, there it's Stookie. So they. We know Stookie. I personally love Stookie. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
But him and Thorne run that event up in Oklahoma, and they are sanctioned to give FD licenses. So
Awesome, dude.
Jake won that one.
Yeah,
That's where he got his licensing. A lot of really good. It's interesting because you wouldn't expect like a big. As big of a competition as this to be in the middle of Oklahoma, but like there's dudes that come from California, up north, there's St. Louis, Florida, like they truck in with their double stackers and they're there. It's a pretty serious event, so.
Yeah, and I think too, like I've been hearing more and more about Oklahoma as well, and shout out to Stookie, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then I feel like there is a need for like one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 round competitions where like when clutch kickers left, I feel like for me, like, did you get to experience any clutch kickers?
I wish.
Dude, it was like, so when, it's one of those things where it was like, when I was in it, it just seemed so natural and it was happening. And then when it was not available, I really missed it way more. You know, I was like, whoa, like, there's a huge need for a 5 round or 4 round grassroots type series. Open class, bring whatever you want, just like, and that was such a good time. And there was a lot of good team building moments within that. Where like there was literally no license on the line. There was no.
Yeah, exactly.
But the competition was, you can win $10,000, so let's go get it.
Exactly.
And I think there's a huge need for that, and it's cool to see drifting growing in general. Where somewhere like Oklahoma can start to build a real scene, and then us kids in Dallas can drive up pretty easy,
Yeah. Well, yeah. just a beeline there, so it's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
they're cool, man. They do a lot of grassroots stuff. They rent out a parking lot and they just like wet it down. They try and teach kids how to drift. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool. That's honestly, I halfway attribute, excuse me, I halfway attribute my like drive to get back into driving to Full Lock, because like, I don't know, it was just such a loose, I mean, there's a lot of drift communities that are very cutthroat and niche,
Yeah.
and like it wasn't that way here.
Right.
And it was very, because it was so warm and inviting, I was like, I'm gonna keep coming back to this.
Yep.
And honestly, they're the reason why I wanted to progress so much, I think, in the last year. So
So cool,
yeah,
man. That's
There-
so
shout
cool.
out to Stookie and Thorne. You guys are awesome.
Well, let's talk a little bit about like your driving experience. Like, I'd love to break down the Z and your plans for it, and if you want to share like what you would do with the platform as far as angle and motor and
Yeah.
things. But like, what currently has been your favorite chassis to drift, or like, what do you enjoy driving the most?
Man, so the S13 got me back into driving, and I think it was a good choice. I bought the car thinking like, my train of thought was, I don't care how many people watch it. I don't care if it gets me views. I know the car drives well naturally. I'm just gonna try it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was my attempt to get back into the sport one last time, really. So it was a fun car. Honestly, it was so easy to drive, I thought it was kind of boring. So I moved to BMWs, which are honestly also still pretty fun. I love driving my BMWs.
Yep.
Like, they're super fun. I like long wheelbase cars, so I
Okay.
don't know. The sedans, the longer cars. Like,
Okay.
I want to build like a GS someday, you know, big taxi or something. But
Yeah.
the Z, the idea on that really, like, it's, a lot of people will say that it's overbuilt or whatever, but really the idea is I want the best quality of life in a race car that I can. And I just I feel like I've not even cut corners, but I just haven't gone full tilt enough before, and I'm kind of known for building cars that break as well. So it's like, I wanted to build a car that really, knock on wood, won't break.
Yep.
So, you know, it's like, get the best transmission, the best differential, make the LS the safest it can be with the dry sump and stuff. And so I really just wanted a car that is not, it may seem, you know, when you look at the list of parts it has, might seem like way too overkill for somebody who just got into it, but it's like, it really is simple. I want to not break, and I want to have a good time. So,
Dude, exactly. And like, we've talked about this off camera, where it's like, my current 240 has to be one of the oldest like chassis still just running,
Right.
you know? So it's like,
Yeah.
that kind of combination can go a very, very long way. And the Z is
Exactly.
going to be very similar.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to put that thing together, and then whether you can go pro in the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah,
can take
exactly.
that thing as far as you need.
but yeah, it's like, I want to be able to do a shootout in the Northeast and then come back next weekend, not have to fix the car, and do a pro-am comp or something like
Yeah.
that. And then maybe even next weekend, go to Grid Life or something, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
I only want to have to switch tires
Yeah.
and do an oil change. That's all I want to have to do. So,
No, that's cool though. It's cool to hear you like long wheelbases. Obviously, the Z is going to be a tighter wheelbase.
Yeah,
and you're
but
gonna,
fast, so.
dude. It's going to be so good, dude. That thing is going to just, I think, be a dream.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I had a 350, and that's a long story, but I liked the way the car drove, but I wasn't into the sport quite yet. So I didn't really experience it, but it was a good car, and so I'm kind of excited. I had an LS powered 350Z that I sold about a year ago because I was just tired of it. It was just a headache.
Yep.
You probably know how that goes. But had to get rid of it, and so this was sort of my redemption for that.
But this is like stitch welded,
Yes.
tubed chassis. Like, this is like a full on pro race car.
Which is why I bought it, because I was going to do all of that to my S13, but I was like, it saves me months of fab, maybe even potentially getting burned through a fabricator or something.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's a corner that is, easy to cut, that's going to help. So,
So quick story on this, right? Like, I was super stoked because Evan comes in to pick up some T-shirts, looks over at the Z, and he's like, "What's that thing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, man, it's for sale."
I forgot you had it for sale, and I was like,
Yeah.
I should text my wife.
And he just goes, boom, sends money over the same day, bought it. And for us, though, it's like that level of a build was actually fairly hard to sell.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take the right buyer that needs the
Yeah.
right mission with it. And so when you came in just casually, it was
I knew
like,
what I wanted. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Might as well just buy this one because it's already done.
Exactly,
So.
dude. No, that's super, super cool. Well, cool. Well, then, like, what's next? Do you have, I know we're all kind of trying to lock in our schedules and stuff, but you got any goals for 24? Like, I know obviously the competition stuff, but do
Yeah.
you have any, You going to be back on the world tour? You going to go to any grid laps?
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'd like to be. I mean, I don't know the schedule for anything yet, but I mean, really, my goal is just to drive. I'd like to travel more. I want to go to Japan this year. That's like a goal of mine. I'd love to just drive the Ebisu or something, even if I got to rent a car and not spend 15 grand on a tin can JZX.
We should split it. We could. Well, obviously Grant Anderson was talking me into it, so he's like, "You got to go to Japan.
I'm down.
It'll cost this much. We can all go together, but
I'm
like
down.
we could split a car or something. So like,
Well,
we cut the. You know what I'm
dude,
saying?
fall Matsuri, just right around, or spring Matsuri even.
Dude.
Yeah, dude, I'm down.
I mean,
I didn't get to make it to the Toronto
World Tour
thing, so I have $1,000 flight credit. So
he's ahead of it.
It's time to go, dude.
He's ahead of it. Well, that's cool. I've never been to Japan, and you've obviously never either, right?
Yeah, I've always wanted to go. I've been wanting to ever since, like, I think Adam really was like the first one to go.
Yeah.
Back in the, well, I guess Adam and Taylor both. I may be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But
Yeah.
Ever since I saw his experience with the JZX and just driving constantly, I'm like, dude, that looks so much fun. And now that I actually would love driving, I think I would love to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like. So what we're talking about is the consumables on some of those cars are like 400 laps, where in America we get 4 laps. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So they're getting a lot of drive time on a set of tires and fuel, versus like the pro cars we're building are going to be like soaking up
Change
tires.
your set every lap.
Exactly. I had a question. I was going to ask you something. I was going to say, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought.
I don't know, dude.
Lost my train of thought.
You had asked about, well, you asked more about the Z, and then you asked about the scheduling. Then I just said Japan because.
Oh, I think I was going to talk to, like, on the cooldowns, I always like to ask people a lot about, like, not necessarily their business, right? But just, like, in your build with the Z, and, like, are you finding opportunities in partnerships? Are you looking for sponsorships? Do you even need sponsors? Like, what is your kind of background on how you would, let's say, like, so for myself, quick background, right? No YouTube, no funding. Dad was never into motorsports. So when I went from skateboarding to cars, I had a very, very tough time figuring out what a sponsorship is, what ROI is on going to the racetrack.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to just understand what like sponsors even needed when they sponsor the car.
Yeah.
And so with you coming from kind of more of a creative background, getting into competitive drifting with more of like a full throttle vision, like, are you leaning into sponsors? Like, do you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think sponsors are how really even YouTubers, like, it's how they function. Like, I mean, the people that pay money to put, whether it's in your videos or on your Instagram and stuff, like, that money pays 10 times more than what YouTube will pay, because YouTube really still doesn't pay crazy money. Yeah, I think it's helped a lot being in the influencer space, just knowing how to work with sponsors and really what to provide, because kind of to what you were saying is, you don't know what to give sponsors. Honestly, sponsors don't know what they want from you either. That's what I've learned. So it's like you have to be the creative one and make it work well enough for them to be like, oh, okay, this was definitely worth it. Yep. So yeah, I'm currently working on trying to help. I mean, any help is great. But for me, I think it's important to be able to support yourself through something if you want to be able to do it, so you're not relying on sponsors or something. Because let's say you get dropped season 2, you're never going to drift again. It's like I think there's definitely something to be said about being able to just push yourself through it without the aid of somebody else or having to rely on that. But it helps. So,
dude, you're nailing it. I mean, that's literally like my mindset currently as well. Is like having the effort to try to do it by yourself will even show a sponsor that you're going to carry on with or without them. And then needing a ton of sponsors, you're at risk. You've lost your leverage.
Exactly.
If they back out, you're like, damn, I can't make it to that race.
Yeah.
And like I've been there also, right? So like that is so cool, man. I think that's a really good like insight into sponsorships for everyone listening.
Maybe that's just it might just be my finance mindset, but it's like I've always budgeted for everything, and it's like, well, I'm not going to build this car because I can't afford it right now, but I'll save up, and when the time's right, I'll do it.
Well, and
Same
that's
thing with racing.
I feel like too, like, let's say a few years ago, like a lot of the stuff I would see would be like basically mechanics turn into drivers that turn into, they just want to drift.
Yeah.
They don't want to be on camera. They don't care.
Yeah.
Being cool's not cool. And then they do that for a year or two, and then they realize, I need help.
Yeah.
I need sponsors. But then the guys with personalities or the guys that were willing to sign autographs longer
Yeah.
or the guys that built kind of the vision like of their brand seem to outstand just the mechanics.
Yeah,
Right? So it's like,
sure.
I see that a lot now to where as drifting starts to build out some more programs, like obviously with RTR and Papadakis and like driver fill-in opportunities to where the influencers can just drive, but there isn't enough of that in drifting. So you still have to do all of it. Like we're truck drivers, actual drifters, mechanics, selling merch at our booths. You know, like we have to do all of it still.
Making it work.
But that's really interesting, man. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so from there, I'm trying to think about like what I had all these questions, you know what I mean? And now we're on the spot.
Dude, that's my brain all day long.
It's all good, dude.
I was doing a live stream last night, and I think I sat there for like a minute, and I was like, I was gonna try and think of what I was gonna say. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So sucks for you guys, but
I'm here. Watch me eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well then, I mean, let's talk a little bit about like your brand. Like how's 5-3 doing? How's that?
It's good. You know, it's hard because I get just like every other like the influencer market's saturated. I think so is like the clothing business. Because everybody, in order to, I mean, but it's like bands have to do the same thing. You know, you make merchandise to help sell.
Yeah.
And so having so many options out there, it's like which influencer do you want to spend? Because I mean, everybody has finite amounts of money, and so it's like who do you want to give your money to? It's good. We've sort of had to. We're taking a step back. We're not doing giveaways anymore because I'd personally rather just focus on my own cars, and I feel like the giveaway market is again way oversaturated. But also, it's like it kind of takes away from the personal aspect of your channel when you're constantly building cars that you're not going to keep.
Yeah. And you just finished a giveaway, correct?
Finished. Yeah, we gave away my Supra, my Mark IV Supra, and then we're almost done. Well, actually, when this goes out, it will have just finished the 330 BMW that we have. So BMW E46.
Okay, cool.
So, but yeah, it's the last one. We got that one just because I was like, you know what? The last giveaway I do, I'd rather it just be for the people. So whoever went, because to be honest, dude, almost everybody who's won a car, they have to sell it immediately because they can't afford to upkeep it. Whether it's taxes, they have to pay the taxes on it. And even if all these giveaways are like, oh, you get this car plus 60 grand, you got to pay taxes on the 60 grand. You're going to use all that. So it's complicated. So we wanted to do the 330 because, like, dude, you're going to pay no money in taxes. You can drive it to and from the track. It's a cheap car. And it works. The 330 in particular is a great car. Not so much the other BMWs and the E46.
That's interesting. So it's almost, for the actual consumer, more valuable to do a giveaway on a car that's like more relatable to the consumer.
I think so. There's a disconnect. I mean, there's definitely, it's hard because everybody wants an R34.
Right.
Until you realize that, oh, I'm being taxed on $250,000. Got to sell it on Facebook Marketplace real quick. So I think that people also just maybe necessarily don't know what they want or don't know what they need. But it's like, I think that, these giveaways are interesting. It's definitely a cash grab. And so that's what's kind of hard about it too, because I don't want to be the person that's doing like the cash grabs all the time. But, you know, I don't know. It used to be a way to connect with people, but now it's kind of a way to take advantage, I think. And so it's like, we're going to step away from that. So
yeah, dude, that's cool, man. I see that a lot too. And like to the saturated marketplace of t-shirts, like in our world, I definitely see a lot of, hey, I really love this graphic. Can you copy it? Hey, I really love this graphic. Can you copy it? And like, there's not a lot of original.
Well, how many different ways can you print a t-shirt?
I mean, exactly, you know, and then like, I don't know, it's interesting. So that's really cool. Well, that's cool to hear. Like, brand's doing decent. Giveaways are going to take a minute. Yeah.
We've had to take a step back too because like we have 2 kids now. Victoria's just super busy. She runs all the clothing stuff, as you probably know.
She's on it.
Yeah, so she's doing all the orders. She packs and ships everything because I'm too busy to do any of that. I used to help her, but my brain's so ADD, I get orders messed up. So I can't. You know, she's banned me from helping. Literally, dude. I'm not allowed to. And so she takes care of all that. And she was just so overwhelmed. Even if, like, let's say a giveaway wasn't doing as well as we wanted it to, she was still overwhelmed with how many orders she had to do. And so it's kind of cool. We've sort of had to take a step back to see like where we want to be. We just want to sell comfortable merch, simple brand message on it, whatever it is, and just be like, hey, do you guys want to support us? Here's a really cool shirt, really cool hoodie. That's it.
Exactly.
No strings attached.
Exactly. And for those watching, the Printwork stuff that you're seeing on Evan's collab with us, so how that works, just to run it down real quick, is basically like we had an idea, we presented it to Evan, and then we pay Evan. So 144 was able to kind of do all of the start to finish and then just get you some money in your pocket and say thank you. And it was just a really cool thing with him in-house with the Z, and it just made sense. And our boys came up with an idea, and then we wanted to present it to you.
Probably one of the coolest shirt designs I've ever seen. He's
Dude,
awesome.
Yeah, I love it, man. I mean, it's rad, you know, but it's just cool to be able to like experience that collab with you too,
Yeah,
right? Like,
of course.
to be able to be like, whoa, cool, we did a collab with Evan, and for us, that's really, really cool. And
No, but yeah, thanks for the opportunity,
dude.
man.
Absolutely,
It's cool.
absolutely.
Pro drifter lets little Evan Shanks make a shirt with him or something. That's dope, dude.
Hey, man, I had fun with you at the track, and I hope next year we drive a lot more together.
Me too.
We need to plan some days to go just like make content together
Yeah,
too.
I'm super down.
Yeah.
My goal for this year is make all cars run well, and run constantly, so that I can anytime we're like, hey, let's go to the track. I don't be like, well, I have it torn apart right now. Can't exactly do that.
I mean, I have, so when we did the E36 stuff with Hurt, like hosted me at Adam's compound, and Hurt's like, yo, come drive this E36, roasted the clutch on it, right? Like, roasted the clutch. I'll have Tito put a photo in for those watching.
Bruh.
W clutches go.
I mean,
like
I
that,
roasted
dude.
it. But then same with the JZX90, right? That car is just made to be here. When you show up, if you want to burn it out in the backyard, cool.
Yeah.
But same concept, right? Already going through a clutch in it. So I feel you on the make every car run for any opportunity.
I've been bad about it. Honestly, I've been unfortunately known for like not finishing projects over the past few years, and that's what I'm trying to. I've been backpedaling the past couple of years and like new focus, but yeah, I'm just trying to make.
Well, and I gotta
all cars
ask.
run, man.
I gotta ask too. So I know some of the community was wondering, like, you were super. I don't know how to word this, Evan, right? But you're like, let's say you're operating at a certain speed, and then you had a moment where you took a second for yourself, and then now you're kind of bringing your momentum back. Is that correct? Or like, you want to speak on any of that, or like?
Yeah, I don't want to take too much time, but
Yeah.
I had some really, really bad anxiety over, like, it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I originally got into drifting like, I was like 6 years ago, because that was like the thing to do on YouTube. It was the meta, if you will. Excuse me, my voice still cracks like I'm 18, so. That was like the meta, so I tried it, but my anxiety was so bad at the time, like, even if I would put a helmet on, not even at the track, I would start getting a panic attack.
Really?
And so I wasn't able to drive, and it was affecting my ability to drive when I was behind the wheel. So it really sucked, because like it looked like I was a terrible driver, but my brain wasn't functioning. And so it was really hard. So I had to take a step back from that, and I took a step back from everything driving, because I was just so scared to have the panic attacks that I was having. And so
when was the first sign of that? Like, how did that develop? Or like, did it just happen and you're like, wait?
It started in California, and that was one of the main reasons I actually wanted to move back, was just because like anything I was doing there, like even if it was weird, even if I thought about going to the track, I'd start having a panic attack, and it was bad.
Dang.
So I stopped driving like 3 or 4 years and just started doing builds, and which was working well. I was getting a lot of views. Like, I mean, YouTube was great, but I was just doing builds and I wouldn't drive them. And then so I moved to my new house, built a huge shop, and I started, I just started doing all these builds, because like that's all I knew how to do, because the second I hopped into the car, I'd get a panic attack. I didn't even drive for a while. I couldn't fly. Didn't take any road trips over an hour. If I was over an hour, I'd get a panic attack as well.
Oh, so it wasn't like drifting. It was just like vehicles.
In vehicles, yeah.
Oh.
And so it was great. And then so I started overwhelming myself with all of these builds, trying to distract myself from what I really had wanted to do, sadly. And then I kind of overwhelmed myself, couldn't finish a lot of them, and then I was like, now I'm in a really crappy spot. And so I took a step back, and I was like, I got to figure something out. I ended up getting like brain scans, and I had some serious problems with my brain. But they were able to diagnose exactly what was wrong, give me the right medication, and thankfully that got fixed. So I eased back into driving, taking some time, and then I tried drifting again. But now that my brain works, I was like, oh, this is fun, and I'm not terrible at it. So
I love that. Now that my brain works, I'm back.
Yeah. So I was, yeah, it's a very long story.
Well,
but
no, that's cool. And
Condensed version for sure.
I just didn't know, like when I met you, it was like, oh, dude, Evan's, really rocking and rolling, but he took a second, but he's part of the boys. Like, you know how like some of the boys explain what's going on. And I'm like, fucking cool, man, But like, I didn't know, like with me, for example, right? Like I was just in Formula Drift and I was just like, fuck this shit. Like I'm out. Like I'm like, so it's just me being like, I want to flip the coin. How do I change? Do something different. Take a left turn instead of a right. Yeah. So like I just went a different direction for multiple years. But like, it's interesting. Like maybe a chemical imbalance or
it was bad.
Right.
It was bad. My brain looked like I don't know what they described it as, but they were like, your brain should not look like this. It's very, very uncommon. But no, it was good. But I took a like a month or two break at one point off of YouTube, stopped making content, and then I just I had to dial in, like, what do I want to do? What makes me happy? Because I'm not going to be able to make a living off of this, or not even that, but like I'm not going to be able to enjoy this for forever if I'm not doing what I'm enjoying. And so I basically have to step back, rebuild my brand, and then start over, which is probably one of the hardest things I've had to do. But
you've been rebuilding for, remind me, 1 year or like how?
Yes, it was about a year and a half ago. I kind of had, things had started changing. And then I started selling off cars that I knew I wasn't going to use anymore and to help fund the, my new adventures. And so it's been a year and a half, 2 years now where I've been trying to just like refocus myself. So,
well, dude, I think there's a lot of people that are stoked that you're back. You know what I mean? I think that's really cool. And just my perspective when I met you again was just like, amazing dude, good energy. Like I wouldn't have known any of that. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like I would have not have known any of that.
Yeah.
So like just seeing you today is like, dude, he's on one,
Trying, man. I'm trying, dude.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, dude, yeah, I mean, thanks for chatting, right? Like,
of course, thanks for having me, man.
Is there anything you want to shout out or say or anything you got on your mind? Like, I
don't know, man.
I just wanted to.
So.
Okay.
I say a lot of things all the time, and there's an endless bank of random things I could say, but I feel like I've graced the camera enough with too many words today. So
I got you. Well, cool. Well, thanks for being on, dude, and appreciate it. Excited to see the Z get finished. Excited to go test together, and
we're about to get bombarded.
We're about to.
They got it.
People are trying to walk in the front door, dude. They need some T-shirts. So I guess we'll go from here. But yeah, Evan, thank you so much, dude.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure. It's been awesome to meet you guys.
Absolutely. All right. See y'all later.